They're saying to us is unless something changes, very probably, we are the last generation of what will be called pure humans. I was in a conference recently. I was on a panel, and I had a very well-known scientist. He said to me, well, Greg, isn't this the next step in human evolution? Aren't we meant to merge our biology with technology, to merge our carbon with silica? And I said, no, we're not. He said, isn't that the next step in evolution? And I said, it's a false evolution. It's a forced evolution. And we have to say that because if we follow this path of evolution, we lose aspects of our humanness. The proposals that are being put forward by organizations like World Economic Forum, working through the United Nations, for example, they are talking about technology being introduced to all humans at the time of birth by the year 2030. What we're not being told is the downside, because when a chip begins doing what we do naturally, we lose those cognitive abilities. They begin to atrophy and die in one generation. And through epigenetics, the next generation, pretty soon, we are no longer functioning the way we have in the past. So the transhuman movement is the movement to replace much of our, either augment or replace much of our biology with synthetics and with technology. And that movement, they're pushing very quickly to introduce so much of this by the year 2030, this magic year 2030 for a lot of reasons, in mass. Where are these ideas, where are they coming from? There's an organization that's been around since 1971, World Economic Forum. We've all heard of the Davos meetings, and that's the WEF, and they meet usually once, sometimes twice a year. There's another box, United Nations. It's not the same UN. It's been hijacked in many respects. And one of the places where it's been hijacked, most of us have heard about something called the UN Sustainable Development Goals for the year 2030. This year comes up a lot, UN SDG 2030. 17 beautiful goals. You look at them on the website, who wouldn't want them? The end of poverty, who doesn't want that? Food security, who doesn't want that? The end of disease for children, who doesn't want that? Now you look at the fine print of how they hope to achieve those goals. And this is where it becomes very problematic, because the way to achieve those goals is for us to surrender much of our humanness. Klaus Schwab is was the head. He stepped down, and I understand he's being reinstated. I'm not sure if that's true. But in a single sentence, he summed up the goal. He says, the way to achieve these goals is to merge our natural world with our digital world. And then there's a long pause because he knows the implications of what he's about to say. And he says, with our biological identities.
At the end, what the fourth industrial revolution will lead to is a fusion of our physical, our digital, and our biological identities.